2 Kings chapter 4, and we have a story here, and we're going to pick it up. And we're going to pick it up at verse 8. And so it was that as often as he passed by, he turned in there to eat. So what happened was she was watching Elisha go back and forth every day, or whenever he passed by. And some commentaries say that he passed by that way because there was the school of the prophets, and he would be ministering over here, and he'd be ministering over here, but he'd always go back to Mount Carmel, which was 16, almost 17 miles away from where she was. And so she's looking at him, and she says to her husband, I perceive that this is a man of God. You see that? Now, she must have been watching him for a while. But first thing she does, she's a great woman, meaning that she had money. They were rich. She was a rich lady. And she saw this man of God, and she said to him, this holy man of God, she said, come and eat bread with us. Let me feed you. She wanted to take care of him. Now, she didn't do it because she needed anything. She just recognized the gift, and she wanted to honor that. And so she wanted to feed him. So she perceived in her spirit that this was a holy man. She wanted to give honor. And this went continually. Then she said to her husband, let us make a little chamber and put it on the wall, or on top of the roof is actually where it was, and let us set for him there a bed, a table, a stool, and a candlestick. Now, I don't have time to go into all the significant meanings of those 4 items, but that's another subject altogether, and one day I might preach it again. But there is a significance that there was a bed, a table, a stool, and a candlestick. And she said that whenever he comes by, that he'll come in and he'll have a place where he can rest. And so it came one day when he was going by that he turned into the new chamber that she had made for him, and he went in and he was laying on the bed, and he was very comfortable, and he was thinking about all that she had done for him. I don't know how long she was feeding him. I don't know how long she was watching him, but she was recognizing that this was a holy man of God, and she wanted to honor him. And so she builds him this little house on top of hers, and she provides for him some items, and then he comes in one day, and he's laying on this bed, and he says to his servant, Gehazi, let me see if I'm going to make sure I say his name right, Gehazi, he said to him, call the woman, Shunammite woman, call her, tell her to come, because I want to see if she has anything I can do for her. Now, so he calls her, the servant calls her, and she comes in, and he says, Elisha says through the servant, she's standing there. He doesn't even acknowledge her. He doesn't say, can I do something back for you? He doesn't even acknowledge her. He doesn't even look at her. Now, most of us would have been insulted. We would have gotten offended because somebody didn't talk. I built him all this house. I built him all this, and he can't even acknowledge and speak to me personally. He's got to speak to me through one of his servants. How rude is that? You know, honest to God, come on, people. You know you and I would have been offended. So the servant says, do you need anything? Do you need Elisha to speak to the king? Do you need Elisha to speak to the head of the captain over the army? Do you need him to speak anything for you? She says, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I have my family. I'm wealthy. I don't have any need. I'm fine. But you see, she was married to a very old man, and they had no children. So it started to bother Elisha because he wanted to do something for her. Notice, never at one time does it say in there that God told him to say anything. It never says God spoke to him and said, I want you to bless this woman. You see, there are these, when you begin to understand the presence and the power of God, you begin to act like God. And when somebody does something for you, it is only right if you have the Spirit of God to do something that is supernatural for somebody else. You say, supernatural, Pastor Fran? Yes, there are things that how we can pray. There are things how we can intercede. There are things that we can declare and decree over people's lives. It's not just money. Okay? So it starts to bother him. And so he said, listen, there's got to be something we can do. And so the servant says, you know what? He says, she's married to a very old man, and they don't have any children. Elisha said, that's it. Tell her to come back in here. See, something bore witness with him on the inside. He said, this is it. This has got to be it. I'm here for this purpose. Now, never one time does the Bible declare that she built that room hoping she was going to get something out of him. She wasn't building him up to get something out of him. She said, I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need anything. We know by the scriptures that the whole purpose of what she did was she wanted to honor the holy man. That was the whole purpose and intent. She recognized who he was, and she wanted to honor him. Boy, that's a concept you got to get. I'm telling you, not just, I'm not saying that because of Craig and I. I'm saying that there are holy men and women that we bring in this church to minister to you. They're holy people, and you need to recognize that. Men and women of God. And so then she comes, and this time Elisha speaks to her. And he says to her, you're going to have a son. By next year at this time, you're going to have a child. You're going to have a son. So Elisha is up on the mountain, Mount Carmel, and he sees her coming. Now, he's had a relationship with her. They're bonded. There's a spiritual connection there. That's a spiritual connection. There's a relationship. There's a spiritual connection going on. They talk. She's fed him. She's taken care of him. He cares about her. So all of a sudden, he sees her coming and riding hard. And he doesn't know what the problem is because God didn't tell him anything. He doesn't know what the problem is. He says to his servant, it's that Shulamite. And she's riding hard. She's coming fast. Run out there to meet her and ask her, are you well? Is your husband okay? Is the child all right? So here goes the servant. He runs and runs, and she's driving hard to meet him. And he comes up to her and he said, hey, Elisha wants to know, are you okay? Is your husband okay? Is the baby okay? She says, Shalom, all is well. Look at the faith of this woman. Shalom, all is well. All is well. She didn't tell him because he wasn't the one that promised her anything. She wasn't going to waste her breath and talk to somebody that didn't even know that it was a present, it was a gift. It's not spoken by him, it was spoken by somebody else. Her husband didn't even have the faith for that child. She said, not even you don't understand. If I tell you, you'll want to have a funeral. That's what some of you have right now. You're sitting and having a funeral over your situation instead of running to the source and saying, oh, God, oh, boy, you owe me. There is something about God that loves when you're determined to get your promise met. There is something, you do something to his heart. You make him stand up. You make him take attention of what's going on in your life. What is it? He stood up. Elisha stood up. He said, what is it? Ask her. He said, God has hid this thing from me. She comes and she sees him and she falls down at his feet. Now, this is just a man. You think about God in this situation, okay? Look at her faith. In those days, they needed a holy man to intercede and go before them. You don't need that. You can go straight to the throne yourself. And so there she is. She's down on her knees. She grabs him. And the servant goes, push her away. He says, leave her alone. God has hidden this thing. That is, can't you see there's something wrong? She never even said to him the child was dead. Never spoke death out of her mouth. Not one. Read it. Not one time did she speak death. Not one time did she say it was an impossible situation. But oh, she did have something to say to Elisha. Oh, yeah, she had something to say to Elisha. She said, didn't I tell you not to deceive me? Did I ask for the child? He said to the servant, take my staff and go lay it on that child. She never said the child was dead. She said, She says, if the Lord lives, if you don't come with me, I'm not leaving. She knew where the source of the power was. It wasn't the servant. It was not the servant. It wasn't his staff. She said, listen here, buddy. You're coming with me, and you're going to perform again what you did in the beginning. And that's what God likes about you and I. We take that word, and you say, didn't you say in here, God? Didn't you? Let me read it to you, God. This is the promise. This is what it says. I'm not going to speak death. I'm not going to speak lack. I'm not going to speak unbelief. I'm going to declare this, and you have to perform it. Woo! Hallelujah! Woo! There's something about the heart of God when you get that militant, when you get that aggressive, and you say, get out of my way, get out of my way. This is a situation that only El Shaddai can handle. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. So I prophesy and declare to every one of you that might be in a situation right now that you don't know how it's going to work out. But I say to you, shalom. Shalom, church. All is well. I speak the peace, the rest, the harmony, the welfare, the prosperity. No agitation, no discord in your life. I speak wholeness and wellness. I speak life and an abundance over every one of you. Shalom, church. The peace of the Lord is upon you. Now just take it. Tell him you take it with your eyes closed and your arms up. Just say, I receive the shalom of Jesus. Shalom means paid in full. Jesus the Messiah paid in full your right to have shalom. Shalom means paid. Comes from the root word meaning paid in full. He paid in full what you needed. Shalom. Take it from him. Take that peace. Take that tranquility. Take that harmony. Take that freedom right now. Take that wellness. Take it. Take it. Take that health in your body. Take that prosperity right now. Take it. Take it. Get rid of that discord. All of it gone. All of that agitation gone. Just receive that peace. The shalom. It's already been paid for. It's already been given to you. Just take it. Take the wellness, the wholeness, the completeness, the perfectness. Take it. Take it. Take it. Take it. Declare it in your life. Declare it over your home. Say, shalom, all is well. Shalom, all is well. Shalom, all is well. If this program has been a blessing to you, an inspiration to your faith, and a source of encouragement in your walk with the Lord, will you then consider becoming a monthly partner with us? Write or email us today. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for watching.